So quick show of hands, how many people in the room have had a can of Athletic Brewing? Okay, so like a big portion of this crowd. I wonder what do you know when you think about, like, you created this category basically from scratch. Who's buying your stuff right now?
Yeah, I mean, that raise of hands was like definitely an oversample for national awareness for sure. We still have plenty of work left to do, but when you go back even 10 years ago, non-alcoholic beer was a total afterthought. There basically weren't options, and it structurally wasn't available in this country. So yeah, it is amazing to go around the country and see Athletic has like 38% share of the on-premise market in bars and restaurants, and seeing younger and younger consumers be really excited about non-alcoholic beer. And a lot of them aren't growing up with the stigma that I had when I turned 21. So yeah, really excited to dive into that.
Yeah, so, okay, so, because that stigma used to really be there, right? Where if you were having a non-alcoholic beer, you sort of thought it tasted like a bath water. It had a stigma, all of that. You've conquered that. But I wonder, last night we were talking with the CEO of Suntory Global Spirits, who made the case that he thought alcohol still has a pretty bright future. I wonder what you would say to that, and when you look at what's ahead for your own business.
Yeah, I mean, on the first part of that, non-alcoholic beer did indeed have a really tough start. It was born in Prohibition. Everyone wanted the thing that was taken away, not this replacement beverage that was a total afterthought. And then basically there was no innovation for 80 years. And I was a consumer living authentically in that space. I love beer, love food, love social situations. I was out to like 100+ work dinners a year, and all I wanted was a great beer that fit my modern, healthy adult life, not this weird penalty box assumption for what the category was. Just like all the grocery stores across the country, everything in the stores had changed except this weird one dusty category. And so we set out to change the quality and the marketing. But as you look now at this next generation of consumers, you know, I don't want to date myself, but I grew up in the FDA food pyramid and getting information from encyclopedias and things like that. Now there's such a proliferation of great health and wellness information. You know, I have a wearable on each arm. The data is in your face and all around you every day. And this generation coming up now is the most digitally native, best informed generation we've ever had in the food world. They want to know what's behind the labels, what's behind the trends, how it makes them feel. And also in that, the stigmas I referenced before that were so ingrained only 10 years ago, this is a generation now that is 6 or 7 years into opening up menus and having great quality non-alcoholic options and well-marketed ones too that help take away that stigma. And so naturally, 10 to 20% of those consumers are choosing not to drink alcohol, where that was 0.3% just 10 years ago. So that's a very structural new consumer and new choice happening. On the high end of the alcohol market, too, not the high end in premium, but like the volume consumption, I would say, to address the second part of your question, I do think there are structural things in the alcohol market also where a very small percentage of US consumers consumes a very large amount of the alcohol, and that binge drinking rate is declining rapidly. It's gone from 40% to 30% in the space of 10 years. So taking out 25% of those high volume consumers of alcohol is surely a structural volume change to go with the other occasions that are going to more sober, curious options.
So when you think about this category, though, you now have a lot of competition. There's Guinness Zero, Heineken's in here, we have celebrities. George Clooney launched a non-alc beer earlier this year. Is there a ceiling on this? Like, how many people really want non-alcoholic beer? I mean, you own this category right now, you're the biggest player in it, but like, how big can it actually get?
I mean, you may be asking the wrong source on that. I'm a delusionally optimistic person, but I'll try to ground this in like a little science on size, and then I'll speak to the marketing part. You know, when 10 years ago, I was walking around to angel investors trying to sell I had a 96-page white paper about what non-alcoholic beer in this country could be. And
96 pages.
Yeah, investors love to see a big TAM, a lot of momentum, have product to taste. I had none of those things, so it was sledding uphill. But I was pointing to everywhere else in the world where there wasn't that prohibition stigma. And in places like Spain and Germany, non-alcoholic beer was 10, 12, 15% of the beer market already, even with like just lagers available. And I said the US could be that in the space of a generation and even well past it. And these health and wellness trends are not going back in the toothpaste tube. And so here we are, we just passed our 8 years at Athletic. We've sold over 1 million barrels of non-alcoholic beer. And non-alcoholic beer as a percent of beer in the US is about 2% of all beer. But there are total channels where non-alcoholic beer really is not penetrated yet. If you go to like Walmart, Target, mass retailers, Kroger, it's already passing 3, 4, 5% of the beer market. But if you go out the edge of natural channel grocers, like the high-end grocery stores across the country, and not just on the coast, Athletic is very often the #1 overall beer in the beer set among all beer brands. And non-alcoholic beer did just pass 20% in the leading retailer last year. So we've passed that European example.
What about convenience stores? You think about gas stations, all of that. I feel like I don't see your stuff there.
Yeah, and so that is the biggest white space probably, where convenience tends to be over 50% of all beer sales in this country for most brands. It's very low single digits for us as the leader. We're about 18% share of the non-alcoholic beer category in the country as the #1 brand, and we're really not in that channel yet, so that's an exciting frontier. And I do honestly think it fits the active on-the-go lifestyle of our products. Like, just thinking about everyday life, 99% of the time, all of us are awake. People are not under the influence of alcohol for the most part. And beer can fit in a lot of those occasions when it's just delicious, portable. Like, I will say my commute beer is my favorite beer every day.
What is your commute beer?
Yeah, you're looking right at it here, yeah. So.
When do you start drinking one of your beers a day?
Usually lunchtime.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I say that as, there's of course like sensory, like we test hundreds of beers a year and I love just being involved in that process from like the R&D side, but as a natural consumer, like I was the like authentic first consumer of Athletic, like it grew out of a natural passion in my life and love of beer. And so it's great to be able to have a beer with lunch and colleagues, and like if it's a stressful afternoon, have an IPA and take the temperature down a little bit. I love having a beer with my family or when I'm cooking dinner, and there really are 3, 4, 5 beer occasions every day without stretching. And the great thing is you wake up feeling awesome the next day.
Well, so given this, like given that you feel like beer can be an all-occasion beverage, when we think about where your company goes, are you going to be acquired by a big alcohol brand? Are you going to go public? Like, what does your own future look like?
Yeah, and I mean, on the first part of that, like mathematically, it gets pretty easy to think about all the occasions when you talk about, like, zooming out, beer used to be like a 5 or even 7 day a week beverage for a lot of Americans. And as the world got busier, work started to follow everyone home in their phones, and you had to be available 24/7, driving cars a lot more. That went from 7 days to 5 days to 2 days to the average US consumer has 0.1 drinks or less per week on average. It's like a very low number. And this is a really good way to add back a lot of those occasions, a lot of that social connectivity, a lot of the delicious culinary occasions. So mathematically, that's why I think 20% surely isn't the ceiling of this category. I think it can go way further, which I think probably ties in well to the capital markets and like future of the category and everything. Honestly, we even though we're 8 years into this journey, it feels like we're super early. Awareness is very low in the country of this category. In our company, distribution is still low. We're in under 40% of the outlets. And we think non-alcoholic beer is going from 2% of beer to 10% to 20%, probably to 50%. And we want to be there to make that change, lead that movement. And so a long way of saying on the capital market side that we have a great group of investors, both individuals all the way up to institutions with a very long time horizon. They believe we're going to be the ones to do that. And at the end of the day, we think a lot less about capital structure and more about where we want to take the future of beverage.
Do you hear all the time from big alcohol companies just knocking on your door, just saying, hey, would you be up for something, some kind of sale, some sort of deal? Like, are they constantly sending inbound messages to you?
It is a small industry, and there's natural connectivity. I came from a financial background and have a huge passion for the financial markets.
You worked at a hedge fund.
Yeah, so there's a lot of days where I wake up and think I would love to be a public company. And we get hundreds of inbound emails every week from consumers who want to be investors and want to be owners of the brand also. And so that breaks my heart not to have retail availability too.
When you think about what you want to do next, like the next mountain you're trying to climb to reach all these goals, like is it a new product the new category that you're trying to launch, that you're trying to figure out? Is it something else? Like where are you spending all your time these days?
I mean, I spent 7 hours in the car yesterday, and my mind was just going on marketing ideas. I was just driving our team nuts, but it's like that's a natural passion as a consumer and now doing what I love. I think we have so much fun stuff in line in the marketing world. We just launched a really fun campaign with Teoscar Hernandez of the Dodgers. We launched beautiful Run Wild quality footage with everything from Michelin star chefs to beer writers to high-end bar managers that really goes deep on the liquid. And so
David Chang was in one of those commercials, right? Others, yeah.
Yep. And so we're having so much fun on the marketing side. And then on the product side, like most CPG products everything is outsourced. At Athletic, we've gone the other way, and we've built our breweries from the ground up, all the way from our first 5,000 barrel brewery in Taproom, which was the first non-alcoholic beer brewery in the country, all the way up to breweries that are over 100 times that capacity now. And so we've been putting steel in the ground and hiring full-time teammates every step of the way. The great thing is we have pilot systems in both of those breweries, and we launch upwards of 50 innovative items a year on our website. And so the innovation pipeline is so much fun at our company too. And speaking to that next generation of consumer, like we probably have where most of our competition launches products at scale, at retail, 1 or 2 things a year. Athletic launches 50 things a year on our website, gets direct feedback in minutes from our customers. And that's a really fun innovation cycle, which keeps us on the front edge of where the puck's going in our industry. And so just last year, some of the most popular things to come out of e-commerce onto grocery shelves we have a lime and salt variant of our light lager, which is out for this summer. We have a red, white, and blue fruited radler. We have a new brewed cocktail line with a Paloma, Moscow Mule, and some other stuff that's come out on the website. So the innovation has been really fun.
Let's go to the audience for some questions right here in the front if we could. If you don't mind, there's a mic runner right behind you.
I do have a loud voice though, but.
Yeah.
Hello. Hi, I'm Jenna Bell, and my question comes from more of the perspective of food and nutrition. I love your brand. I noticed that so much of what you do, though, is going to be really helpful for public health. I mean, we're from addiction to liver disease to disease reduction risks all over the place. Is it on purpose that you don't push that as much as you could? And I think back to what Matthew Walker from S2G was saying about how we kind of over-rotated on how much the consumer would spend on premium, and that is, sustainability and nutrition. I wondered if you had that same conversation at some point.
For sure. It's a great question. And part of it is we're not really allowed to talk about health and make health claims, just with like TTB and FDA regulations. The other part is that non-alcoholic beer had such a penalty box image of being like lectury almost, and it was for designated drivers, it was for when you can't participate, and we really just wanted to make it positive, aspirational, and let people connect the dots mostly on that front on their own. And so that's largely how we've gone about it, is to, rather than market to, especially on the recovery side, rather than market to recovery, we just want to be there as an option and not have people feel stigmatized. And so we never do paid ads towards those communities. And we don't want to tempt people back into the bar who might be sensitive also. But at the same time, we have volumes and volumes of emails from people who, they have been trying to quit drinking for 25 years, and finally Athletic helped them get over the hill. And so many of those, anything from that to accidental quitters or people who found moderation. And one of the biggest surprises of this journey to me too is how many people in the same session where they would have had 4 alcoholic beers have, say, 1 alcoholic drink and 3 non-alcoholic or something. So the moderation curve even gets sloped off there.
Great. Other questions? Yes, right here in the back.
Hi, Stephanie with Katzman. Most states across the country, I think you're allowed to buy non-alcoholic beer under 21. So is that any part of your marketing strategy to get in there on consumers before the alcoholic companies kind of get their go?
Not really. I mean, in this country, there is such a like tradition and celebration of turning 21 and getting to drink alcohol as if like ABV was the thing. We are trying to like romance the flavors and the styles and make it less about the ABV, which I think would be really helpful for younger generations learning to drink for flavor rather than that. But at the same time, like we don't want to market to children, but in the same breath where alcohol is already being consumed, we love to have non-alcoholic beer available in those situations. So I know a lot of colleges and universities across the country, for example, do proactively stock athletic, especially in like their Greek life stuff, and because then you don't have kids under a lot of pressure with no options but alcohol.
So it's just there in the frat house. It's just there, like in case, yeah.
Yeah, and so that's increasingly common. I know in a number of states, colleges and universities are top bars or top on-premise outlets in those states. So, yeah.
Great. And then maybe one right here.
But yeah, just a small build on that. We don't actually have any evidence that non-alcoholic beer is a gateway drug to alcohol. Like it's actually the opposite. So there have been studies in the UK and stuff on that. Yeah.
I have not tried your product, but I want to. And I love lager, and I don't know why all these fruit ales are popping up. I even did an in-country beer tour of Dusseldorf and Dortmunder and Cologne so I could learn the taste profiles. My husband loves beer. What did you model your beer after? I mean, it's a lager, right?
Well, I have to get your email to send you a limited release we have coming up that I think you're going to love. We do have a range of lagers and then like full craft styles too. So yeah, we launched into a category in the US that had never been anything but lagers, as if every drinker just wanted one style. And from day one, we launched a full lineup of craft beers. And then we were basically launching a new beer every week on e-commerce after that. And so these were selling out like Ticketmaster sales when we first launched. And so really, from the beginning, we have a great co-founder, John, who's a highly awarded technical brewer. And we were really just challenging ourselves. Like, what did we want to see? What did we want to drink? What kind of flavors and aromas did we want in those recipes of like our favorite styles of craft beer? And then as we've grown to 300 teammates and probably 40 really talented brewers on our team, the ideas come from all over our team, all over our community, our inbound. So, and of course, people travel and take inspiration for sure. So, but yeah, we have a great lineup of lagers that are growing really fast also.
Okay, in these final few seconds, you're a high growth brand. Is there another company that you look at, another brand that you look at that you either want to emulate or the mistakes that you want to avoid that others have sort of made at this point in their journey?
Oh, I mean, it's an amazing question. I read a ton of biographies, and I'd say I'd take like little things and learnings from everyone, but like no one's perfect. I'm not perfect too, so it's but there's obviously like tons of great brands out there that have done so many things. I'd say I take a lot of inspiration, particularly from Nike and Walmart. I'd say Nike aspiration, like basically invented road running in this country and got so many people moving. And then on the Walmart side, I really admire how the employee ownership and empowerment that they instilled in that company over the generations would probably be my biggest inspiration there. Everyone at Athletic is an equity owner in our company.